Well, meanwhile, let's get back to Archie Frazer-Nash in the book. Now, there's other Frazer-Nash books, which, if you're interested in the mark, this is one of the earliest ones by David Thurlby. He came out with a second copy, and the best all-around book was by famous journalist Dennis Jenkinson.
Oh, yeah.
This is the chain drive to turbocharger, and it mostly focuses on the AFN company, but it gives a great background on how it got started, including Frazer-Nash. So this is the best all-around book on the history of Frazer.
They still were running chain drives then?
Until 1939. They built their last chain drive car in 1939. Mm-hmm. And the turbocharger refers to the Porsche, when they became the importer of the Porsche. So Archie, after he gained his health, he was more involved in engineering, and the next thing he went into was kind of surprising to me. There was a problem with construction cranes in England. They were falling over because there was no easy way to calculate what was a safe load and how far out this could be extended. And contractors, being in a rush, wouldn't take the time to go out and weigh the load they were putting on, so they were just eyeballing this, and accidents were causing a lot of problems. So Archie was tasked with developing a safe load indicator for a crane, and he did some clever engineering and used mathematics and springs and level indicators, and came up with a device called the crane safe load level indicator. Clever design, and we'll include a picture of it from the book on this video. It was so it's quite successful. And Archie did one of his first very good business decisions. He sold the rights to another company to manufacture this for a great deal of money in the 30s, which gave him the capital to move on to other ventures. And his next venture was back with the Defense Ministry in England in the 30s. It doesn't exactly explain how he got involved with this, but his next design was for gun turrets for two-man fighters. Back in the old days, if you can kind of visualize World War I aircraft with the rear gunner, with his machine gun on a ring, kind of maneuvering around. Well, the early fighters of the 30s, had greatly increased speed, more than double or almost 3 times as much as World War I.
A little hard to be standing out in the...
Right, and you couldn't hand maneuver this around. So the ministry came up with the idea of designing powered gun turrets. And Archie decided to use hydraulics again to maneuver, not only to move the gun around, but to move the gunner with the gun also. And the first turrets just had a metal protector for the gunman, and later they evolved into fully enclosed turrets. What engineers would appreciate the fact that Archie couldn't go off and look for various components for hydraulics like a pump or regulators from other manufacturers. This was novel stuff, and he had design everything from the ground up: the little hydraulic pump, the regulator for it, the controller, the accumulator, the hoses, the seals that would seal the hoses when the thing moved around. So the book explains that a little bit, and it was a challenge which he succeeded in solving. He got involved with an aircraft company. He and a guy named Thompson, they were the chief designers, and the Parnell Aircraft Company built over 60,000 turrets for various English aircraft during World War II. Mostly the bombers, the Wellington and the Lancaster. So that was Archie was a well-respected engineer, and he wasn't actually running the companies, but he was their chief designer. After the war, the Frazer-Nash the divisions formed up into something called the Frazer-Nash Group, which had a few components. And surprisingly, they got involved in designing for atomic energy. Devices to pull
away from cycle cars.
Yeah, quite a ways from cycle cars, from inserting fuel rods into nuclear reactors to all kinds of testing equipment for nuclear power. And he was also involved in more armament design. Some projects were secret, but he was some that are mentioned in the book. He was involved in designing ejectors for bombers, the jet bombers like the Tornado and the canceled TR-21 ejector racks and flare ejectors and devices like that. And these are all detailed, all the projects that his Frazer-Nash group was involved in up until his death in 1965. And his family life is explained as he married, his wife was a race driver occasionally also, that was Maud. He had 2 daughters and a son, and his daughter is still the patron of the Frazer-Nash Car Club in England. His company, the Frazer-Nash Group, had a crisis after he died when in 1990, when probably it was Margaret Thatcher's time, when there was a big pullback from all defense activity in England, and they actually cut off payments to all the suppliers, which was fatal for a lot of companies. However, several divisions of the Frazer-Nash Group formed up under other names: Frazer-Nash Engineering, Frazer-Nash Research, and interestingly, the Frazer-Nash Research Company still survives. It's now a division of a company called Camcorp, which is a Swiss-British company, which last year, 2011, bought the Bristol Car Company when the Bristol Car Company got into trouble. So, in some sense, things have come full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
Frazer-Nash, which survived the war because they got affiliated with Bristol, which designed the engine, redesigned the engines and supplied the Bristol engine for Frazer-Nash. Now there's a company called Frazer-Nash, which owns the Bristol Car Company. So that's all kind of interesting. Anyway, this is the first real biography of Archie Frazer-Nash, who was quite a personality. He was a hero to school kids in the 30s in England because of his exploits as a race driver. His cars were named after, race cars were named after characters in Rudyard Kipling's novel. There was Kim, Mowgli, and Rikki Tikki.
Rikki Tikki.
Yeah. So that's all we know about, or all I can, as a non-expert in Frazer-Nash.
You retained you got all of that out of the book.
Well, I've been reading, I actually have a Frazer-Nash car, which for a long time was in pieces. I didn't have anything to do besides
read about it.
Read about it. So over the years I've accumulated, let's see, we have 5 other books here, and there's another 2 books on Frazer-Nash cars. There's a bibliography on my website, which we'll put a citation to at the end. So if you're interested in Frazer-Nash cars, and if you're also interested in, there might be one appearing in the popular media in the next few months. TV personality Jay Leno started restoration of a chain drive Frazer-Nash car more than a year ago, and the latest report is it's very close to completion.